Did you know that 3AC has filed for bankruptcy? Or what effects Japan's new regulation is having out there? So hello everyone and welcome back to Coinmonks. Here I am, Shambhavi, to feed you with some real interesting updates for today. Starting up straight with the headlines. US Senator Toomey on Bitcoin ETF rejection says that SEC is denying access to financial services. Crypto hedge fund 3AC files for bankruptcy. US CFTC alleges South African MTI with 1.7 billion Bitcoin fraud. New Japanese regulation will allow Japanese trust banks to manage cryptocurrencies. Starting up. On Wednesday, the US Securities and Exchange Commission said in a filing that it has rejected a proposal to list a spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund, that is an ETF, by Grayscale, one of the world's largest digital asset managers on Intercontinental Exchange and its NYSE ARC exchange. SEC's indifference towards spot Bitcoin ETF became much re-insisted with this move. Grayscale has responded with a legal challenge to SEC's decision, the latest in a series of rejections of proposals for US listings of spot Bitcoin ETFs over the past 1 year. The latest development have also sparked interesting discussions on social media regarding the SEC's approach to tackling investors' risk. Pat Toomey, US Senator for Pennsylvania, took to Twitter to express his displeasure at SEC's decision to reject Grayscale's application. The blanket rejection of numerous Bitcoin spot ETFs despite the SEC's prior approval of Bitcoin future ETFs demonstrates how this SEC has arbitrarily chosen to deny investors access to the financial products. He further added that he is pleased that the SEC's decision will now be subject to court review. Supporters of a spot Bitcoin ETF approval believe it would offer an easily accessible and economical way for institutions and individuals to invest in BTC. Some others, however, believe SEC's rejection of Bitcoin spot ETF was needed considering the current market volatility. Otherwise, the effects of this crypto crash would be even worse. Next up, renowned crypto hedge fund 3 Arrows Capital has filed for Chapter 15 bankruptcy in New York. Chapter 15 bankruptcy is usually filed to protect the debtor's assets. The Latham and Watkins law firm will be representing 3 Arrows Capital. The filing for bankruptcy marks the end of one of the crypto's biggest player in the market, which managed as much as $10 billion in assets as recently as in March. The latest development comes in the wake of Voyager Digital suspending trading and withdrawals, citing unpaid loans to 3 Arrows totaling $646 million. Earlier this month, Voyager Digital issued a statement revealing that it had around $500 million in exposure with 3 Arrows. It issued a notice of default for failure to make the required payment on its previously disclosed loan of 15,250 BTC and $350 million USD. The descent into bankruptcy for 3AC was slow but expected. Speculations regarding 3AC's rumored insolvency began spreading when the firm transferred assets to deposit funds on DeFi platform in order to reduce liquidity risk. The algorithm stablecoin Luna crash further exacerbated 3AC's already weakening financial stability, according to the reports. 3AC had previously invested over $200 million in Luna token in February. The latter loss of ST Ether peg brought 3AC closer to bankruptcy. To top it all off, crypto trading platform 8Block Capital accused 3AC of skimming 1 million liquidate margin trading. 3AC also owes the BitMEX exchange around $6 million. Filing for bankruptcy became necessary for 3AC when on Wednesday a court in British Virgin Islands ordering the liquidation of 3AC after the company suffered major losses in the recent market turmoil. And now, moving on to our next update. A South African company and its CEO have been charged civilly by US commodities regulator, the Commodity Future Trading Commission (CFTC), for operating a fraudulent commodity pool worth more than 1.7 billion in Bitcoin and for registration violations. A South African pool operator and CEO have been charged by the CFTC with 1.7 billion Bitcoin fraud, according to a statement released on Thursday. The regulator further added, the CFTC's largest fraud scheme case involving Bitcoin is in the action. Cornelius Johnny Steinberg of Stellenbosch, Western Cape Republic of South Africa, and Mirror Trading International Proprietary Limited were investigated for fraud and infringement of registration in this case, which was filed in the US District Court for the Western District of Texas. Because the wrongdoers might not have sufficient funds or assets, but the CFTC warned victims. The restitution order may not result in the recovery of lost money. The regulator claimed that between May 2018 and March 2021, thousands of people, including 23,000 Americans, were solicited to send Bitcoin through the internet by Mirror Trading International Proprietary Limited, the South African Bitcoin pool operator, and Cornelius Johnny Steinberg, its CEO. The CFTC explained that Steinberg individually and as the controlling person of MTI engaged in an international fraudulent multi-level marketing scheme to solicit Bitcoin from members of the public for participation in a commodity pool operated by MTI from approximately May 18, 2018 through March 20th, 2018. It added more information by saying, Steinberg accepted at least 29,421 Bitcoin during this time, which had a final value of more than 1 billion at the time. And now winding up with our last update for today. This fall, the Japanese Cabinet Office Ordinance will be revised and trust banks in Japan will be permitted to store and manage cryptocurrencies, according to the reports. Japan's Financial Services Agency is relaxing rules to let trust bank manage cryptocurrency. In Japan, trust companies are given the exclusive right to store and manage crypto assets. This change was made to the regulation of the prefecture, that is first level administrative division of Japan, which allows trust and banks to handle individual operations. The storage and management of the trust bank will have licenses after the authorities approve the regulation. The custody of digital currencies like Bitcoin and Ether in Japan is handled exclusively by the trust companies. Trust banks are no longer allowed to manage these assets. After the prefectural ordinance has been modified, each trust bank will be able to conduct its own processes. And after the control framework has been approved by the authorities, custody operation for cryptocurrency assets will be possible. The assets of their clients' trust, the asset held by the trust itself, can be moved between accounts in trust banks, a unique type of banking. In contrast to traditional banking operation, trust banks act as trustees. So with this, we'll round off our analysis for today and see you all tomorrow with even more exciting content. In the meantime, if you have any recommendations or opinions, do let us know in the comment sections below. Also, do not forget to subscribe to the channel to receive daily crypto market updates. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day ahead.